As you can see, I'm back out at the beach today. It is just such a beautiful day out here, especially since it's January. I could not resist coming out here, guys. Mid-70s, you know, it's a little bit windy, but overall, it's beautiful out here, so couldn't resist. And another thing that can't be resisted right now is the amount of incentives that home builders are going to be giving buyers to jump into these properties. Because as they start accumulating more and more inventory that starts sitting empty, these guys are going to have to start taking more drastic measures in order to start liquidating these homes. One of my subscribers, Victoria, thanks for sending this over to me. She sent me an email that she got from D.R. Horton based out of Sarasota, Florida. And over there, they have about 600 unsold homes right now. And this is what they're doing. They're offering people newly reduced prices. Of course, doesn't say by how much, but they're calling this their quarterly red tag sale event, guys. So, you know, we had all the Black Friday sales during the holidays. Well, now that it's 2023, you're gonna start seeing the red tag sales for the homes. So this is what they're offering. They got newly reduced prices. They got reduced interest rates still available, okay? They have buyers are receiving $10,000 of cash towards closing costs, plus an additional $10,000 if you buy a home that is listed on the red tag sale list. So these guys are starting to really ramp up the savings for these homes, okay? They're even sweetening the deal for real estate agents. They're giving real estate agents a $1,000 bonus on top of the 3 to 4% commission that they're paying on any of these homes. So they're really trying to get real estate agents to bring their clients to these developments and try to get these places sold sooner than later. Here's the deal, guys. I'm not going to show you all this, but I'll pull up a little bit of the inventory page that they have here. There's a lot of homes on this list in the $350,000 price range. And if you ask me, for being in Florida at $350K for a brand new house is still not a bad deal, okay? And I'm not trying to sell you any of these homes. I'm just saying, you know, I get complaints all the time on the walk saying, oh, everything that you're showing us is expensive. Well, it's expensive where I live here, guys. And obviously, these are nice homes in brand new areas. Even some of these are in areas like Lakewood Ranch. That's a very famous area over near Sarasota. They're all brand new homes. And when you can get something under 400K these days, that's like 2,000 square feet in Florida, brand new, that's not such a bad deal, guys. Now, I'm not telling everyone to go out and buy this today, but it's worth noting that these developers are starting to put these homes on sale because they need to get rid of them. We've talked about this a few times, and the time has come, okay? And I think you're really gonna see this being the story throughout 2023 and even into 2024. You're just gonna see more of these developers looking to get rid of their unsold inventory. And just like I was saying the other day about the Miami video, guys, when we talked about how expensive it is to live here and, you know, the cost of real estate and the home sale stats, you know, median home prices here in Miami are like $550,000 right now. And that's median, guys. You go to, you know, much nicer areas. You know, people ask me all the time, you know, go to an affordable area. An affordable area here now is like a place where they have home prices in like the $600,000-$700,000 range, okay? That's like considered affordable now. Now, obviously that's not affordable. Most of the things that we see on the walks are well over $1 million. But when you can look at places like Sarasota for a house that's, you know, under 400K, I would be looking at stuff like that, guys, if you want to come down to Florida. Start looking at these new construction builds, because I think that's where you're set to see the best deals if you want to come to Florida in 2023. That's probably going to be your best bet. And one thing I don't mention enough here on the channel, I just mention it once in a while, but I want to remind you guys that if you are someone that's looking to move down here or really anywhere in the US, I have a link down in the description below of all of my videos in case you need a real estate agent. If you need somebody to sell your house, I got you. If you need somebody to help you buy a house, I got you, okay? So use my link down below and I can get you set up with a real estate agent anywhere across the United States. It's at no charge to you guys. It's just a service that I offer in order to help my viewers in case you need somebody. But apparently it's not just home builders that think that the housing market's in trouble right now. Compass, the big real estate firm, they just announced that they're going to be doing more layoffs this year, guys. And this is now their third round of layoffs since they started doing them last year. They didn't say how many people that they're looking to lay off this time around, but they said that they would need to reduce their costs around 10 to 12 million. And last time they did layoffs and they had to reduce their cost by 15 to 16 million, they laid off 450 people. So it's probably safe to say that probably at least 400 people are looking at getting the pink slip very soon over at Compass. And supposedly these layoffs are directly due to Fannie Mae's prediction in 2023 that home sales volume is going to drop by almost 23% this year. So Compass knows they cannot become profitable at these numbers. And so that's why they're looking to get rid of people. And even the CEO over at Compass says, you know, we're preparing for a significant double-digit reduction in home prices this year. And so that's another part of the reason that they're doing this, guys. When you have a reduction in sales and a reduction in home prices, profitability sinks for a real estate firm. But here's the other thing that people need to understand is we did a video a while ago about the zombie companies, and in case you missed that and you don't know what a zombie company is, it's a company that doesn't make any money, okay? And Compass is one of those companies. In fact, in the third quarter of 2022, they lost 154 million, guys. The quarter before that, they lost 101 million. So these guys are the definition of a zombie company, and their goal in 2023 is to actually become profitable, which is a good thing that they want to become profitable. Whether they're going to be able to do it or not is the question. Because when you have a company losing that kind of money and they think they're going to cut their expenses by 10 million and all of a sudden start becoming profitable, how is that going to happen, guys? When you have the reduced amount of listings available on the market and people are not selling these homes, how are they going to become profitable in 2023? Can't wait to see how that works out. And 2023 is likely going to be the year when you're going to see a lot of these zombie companies completely just disappear and go out of business. So it'll be interesting to see if Compass is one of them. Probably not, but who knows, guys? Anything can happen. The saddest part about all this is Compass has been one of these companies that has bought up a ton of smaller mom and pop brokerages across the entire country and rebranded them under the Compass name. They've even done that a lot here in Miami. It's really big over in San Francisco. They pretty much dominate the market over there. So these guys have taken over a lot of small brokerages, and now they've pretty much bit off more than they can chew and are going to have to start reversing that and laying people off. And the next thing that will come, probably closing offices. Now here's an interesting turn of events. In 2023, inflation has been making everything more expensive. People now are wondering if they can afford to get divorced. So I don't want to laugh too much at that, guys. I know some people get divorced for, really serious reasons. So of course there is legitimate reasons to get divorced. But, with the divorce rate we have in this country, it's pretty safe to say that most people who get divorced probably should have never been married to begin with. But check this out. The average cost for a divorce in the US is about $15,000 to $20,000. And if it's a contested divorce with things like child support or child custody, things like that, the divorce can easily cost over $100,000. So when I first saw this, I first thought, well, wait a minute, why do divorces cost more now because inflation is up? How does inflation affect the cost to get divorced, right? And it's not immediately obvious, but when you dig into it, there are some surprising reasons why. Lawyers are starting to up their legal fees because now the rent for their office space has been increasing. The amount that they have to pay their employees is going up. And they're also starting to look at passing along the credit card fees and things like that along to their clients now because the cost of everything is up. Not like lawyers don't make a killing as it is. We all know that. And depending on where you live, the attorney fees can range anywhere between $5,000 to $50,000 to get divorced, which to me is just staggering, especially when you look at people spending like 25, 30 grand on a wedding. and then turning around spending another same amount on a divorce. It's just insanity. And this lawyer that they interviewed for this article says that even if you're separated, you need to actually look at this and figure out if you can actually afford to get divorced right now, guys. So this is advice coming from a divorce attorney that handles this all day long. Because besides the cost of the divorce, a lot of people don't think about the aftermath in terms of, well, now I gotta pay for my own place. I'm not splitting it with my partner anymore. I gotta buy all my own food and groceries. I gotta pay for all my own utilities. You know, living on your own can easily be more expensive than, you know, splitting the expenses with a household with a partner. So that's another thing that people have to look at, and that's one of the big reasons also why people actually can't afford a divorce right now. In fact, this attorney said that during the last Great Recession, around the 2008 mark, he saw a lot of clients that were forced to stay living together even though they wanted to get a divorce because they literally could not afford it at the moment. And at a time when home prices are going down, just like now, it's not really a great time to sell in some cases, especially if you don't have the proper equity. And when you're dividing up assets, that can be devastating, guys, because if you don't have enough equity, when you sell, there's not going to be any money left over. And when you're paying these exorbitant fees to get divorced, obviously you need all the money you can get, and probably most of it comes from selling the house. So I'm sure you guys knew I was going to hit a real estate angle here on this at some point, right? Well, there you go. That's the real estate angle. In a divorce, 9 times out of 10, people need to sell the house, okay? Because the assets need to get divided 50-50, and the house is no exception. And the only other way out of that is if the other person decides to buy out the other person and give them the money so they can keep the house. But a lot of times, with how broke everyone is, people don't have the money for that. So this is what they're saying. They're saying that if you want to get divorced in 2023 and you don't have the money, to start with mediation first to see if you guys can work it out like that, because that's going to be a whole lot cheaper than going through the divorce process and hiring attorneys, things like that. And obviously, guys, the more it's contested, the more that you don't agree on things, then the more it's going to cost. So that's the problem with getting divorced. If you're going to get divorced, it's probably in your best interest to get along right now and figure it out, so that way you guys don't lose, you know, a fortune trying to get divorced in times when it's probably going to cost more than ever to get one. And there's just so many other things that people don't think about, right? You have things like people needing to get their own health insurance. You know, a lot of times when people get married, one spouse has the better health insurance and they cover the entire family, including you. But in a divorce situation, that's out, guys. You got to get your own health insurance. So the cost of living can go up substantially in a divorce, and it's going to be interesting to see if the divorce rate will actually fall this year, because people just can't afford to separate right now. Now here's an interesting real estate story for you. There's a company called Dorstead, and I've never heard of them before, and apparently they've been around for a few years. They're a property management company that manages rental property on the behalf of landlords. And one thing that makes this company stand out against other property management companies is the fact that they offer guaranteed rent to their landlords. So not only do they offer guaranteed on-time payments, but they also guarantee the amount of rent that you're going to get. And that sounds pretty enticing as a landlord's point of view. Like, hey, these guys are going to guarantee my rent. Sounds pretty good to me. And the only fee that they charge is an 8% management fee, which even that I would say is pretty reasonable. A lot of property management companies can charge 10 to 12%, and the fact that these guys are charging only 8% is pretty good. But here's the thing, guys. This company doesn't have an incentive to ask crazy numbers of rent on your property, because the only way that they make money is on the 8% management fee each month. Their goal is to make sure the property is always occupied, because if the place isn't occupied, no one's making any money. Not the landlord or Dorstead. They do offer the guaranteed rents, but if you think these guys are just going to list it at some crazy price and guarantee you well above market value, that's not going to happen, because that's not part of their business plan. And the good thing, they won't even take extra. So say, for example, you have the place listed at $2,500, but it rents for $2,700, that $200 a month still goes to you. And they have it designed like that on purpose because they don't want any incentives for doing the wrong thing at this company, which all sounds pretty good to me. So it's not like they're gonna list your property higher because they want to try to get that extra money that would actually go to them if that was part of their plan. So if you're a landlord and you're interested in signing up for something like this, you can just go to their website and punch in your property address, see if it's eligible, and if it is, they'll tell you how much they think you can rent it for and when they will guarantee that you'll start receiving the payments. So it all sounds pretty cut and dry, guys. But you know, it is one of those things that almost sounds too good to be true, but I feel like it isn't, probably because the rent prices that they're going to be asking for all of their listings is going to be realistic, which is great for tenants, and it's good for landlords too, if you ask me, because as long as you're cash flowing positively each month and you're making money off of this and you're getting a guaranteed rent payment, that'll help you sleep at night. Especially imagine situations like when the tenants stop paying, you know, if there needs to be an eviction situation, stuff like that. It doesn't say if things like this are covered under their guaranteed rent payments, but if non-payment of rent is covered, that would be an excellent reason to sign up with these guys. And this is not sponsored or anything. I just saw this today, thought it was interesting, wanted to share it with you guys because it's pretty rare that you see a company out there starting to do the right thing and try to actually make a business plan that works for everybody, you know? So that's what I thought was interesting about this. And the other thing that's interesting about it is if they rent the property for less, so let's say the rent is $2,000 a month and they're only able to get $1,800, they will cover the difference. So not only will they not take the extra if they rent it for more, but they'll cover the difference if they can't get you the full price that they promised. So in that regard, it is a pretty good deal for landlords, and on the surface, I can't see a downside to doing this. And the good thing is this is a big incentive for Dorstead to actually get your property rented as soon as possible versus, oh, just another listing, you know, it'll rent when it rents, whatever, because these guys are making nothing until that property gets a tenant in there. Now, has anybody else noticed the price of gas going up recently? You know, for a little while, we had lower prices, and now you're starting to see it tick up again. So much so that here in Florida, it went up about 28 cents in just 1 week, guys. So that's a pretty significant increase, and they're predicting here it's gonna be about $4 a gallon by the middle of summer. And now the nationwide average is hovering around $3.29 a gallon, and Florida is literally one of the cheapest places you can buy gas right now throughout the entire country, which I thought was interesting. It looks like the days of having the cheap gas are gonna be over, guys. It went up big time, went down just a little bit, and now we're gonna be getting back to the high prices again, probably later this year when they're calling for $4 a gallon. So get ready for that. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the bell notification down below. YouTube will alert you every time I post a new video. If you don't wanna wait, check out my next one right over here, and I'll see you in the next one.